this table here in front of us.
Was
there any left at the end of the evening?
There was a little bit left. And my daughter had some this afternoon. She liked it.
Awesome.
She's very discriminating.
Well, Alice is an award-winning poet and a historian, and we've been privileged over the last number of years to follow Alice's evolution from poetry into history, into music, and then combining, if you will, all these artistic pursuits. And it looks like we have the stream about set. Everybody, if you go out to the Pass the Hat Facebook page, and there are links to other things. We are live streaming this, as well as the audio, as always, will be here live streamed as well on WHUPFM.org. But go to Pass the Hat on Facebook, and you should see a video right now because we are doing moving pictures this evening of this wonderful event. Alice, welcome back again, and as you know, because you've been here before, we'd like to jump in and have you play a song, so if you'd be so kind.
This one is called Are You Men from California or Do You Come from Heaven? Hope is like bread. What does it taste like? Huddled in dirty shawls, and cheeks are sunken in. Are you surprised? We haven't all died. Are you surprised? We haven't all died. And then Mrs. Murphy pokes her head out here and shouts. She weakly says, Are you men from California? Or do you come from heaven? Oh, belief is tough to come by. In 1847 we've been waiting so long for you. And birds won't sing, our hearts are dim. Can you scoop up a speck of light? Please help us. Whoa, it's too hard to cry. Ready the strong, faithful fight the snow, wrap tight heads and toes. For the 90 miles, it's a long drive. Keep the kids alive. Oh, it's a long drive. Keep my kids alive. And then Mrs. Murphy pokes her head out here and shouts. She weakly says, Are you men from California? Or do you come from heaven? Oh, relief is tough to come by. In 1847 we've been waiting so long for you. And birds won't sing, our hearts are dim. Can you scoop up a speck of light? Please help us. It's too hard to cry. Whisper prayers, kiss the little ones. It's not over yet. See how they fly high from the herd. The clouds hang close. Who wants to live the most? Those clouds hang close. Who wants to live the most? And then Mrs. Murphy points to the dead, smiles, weakly says, Are you men from California? Or do you come from heaven? It's another bitter morning in 1847. Oh, goodbye men, brave, sound and true. Well, I can't sing and my heart is dim, but I will lead up a speck of life. You can't help me. No, you cannot help me. lay to cry. Thank you.
Alice Osborn sharing with us live one of the songs from her new release, Skirts in the Snow. And Alice, we'll have a chance over the next hour to peel back the many layers of this story of the Donner Party. But for those out there who know nothing about this, can you give us a little overview?
Sure. In 1846, there were families who wanted to move west. Manifest Destiny was the motto of the land, thanks to the movement to move west for more opportunities for religious freedom, to get out of Illinois because of the low sinking soil that was causing a lot of death to children, cholera. And a lot of folks were looking for land, were looking for more money. Some folks were looking for to be able to breathe and be themselves, and some others were wanting to raise children past the age of 3 years old. And all these disparate farmers, merchants, shopkeepers, they came together, and they were part of the larger Russell Group, which later splintered off to form the Donner Party right in around Utah. And what happened is the Donner Party was the last party to leave for the West out of independence in April and May of 1846. They were not late, but they were not early. And James Reed and George Donner and a few of the other leaders knew that if they could take this shortcut that Lansford Hastings was touting in his Emigrant's Guide to California, perhaps if they took this shortcut, they would save time. Unfortunately, it cost them a whole month of time and resources and cattle and food and water, because it was a straight route, and basically we all know in the farmers it's just basic, you need water for your cattle the shortcut cost them time, and when they reached the Sierra Nevada mountains, they were snowed in.
Wow. And we know that this project, and it's taken on a life of its own, and we'll hear more that you're heading to California. Talk about that in a minute. But where did this all start? How did you first hear about this, and how did it intrigue you?
I think it started when I watched The Shining, and there was that brief blip where they said that the Rockies were where the Donners were stuck, and when they're on the way to the Overland Hotel. And so they got the geography wrong, and I may have seen it again in another book, and I knew it meant darkness and something bad happened, but I didn't know all the details. And then in 2011 at the Gateway Museum over by the Arch in St. Louis, that was in 2011, I saw the museum label for the Donner Party, and it was really small because it was the westward expansion. And that night at our bed and breakfast, while my husband was asleep, I just stayed up till 2 a.m. researching Donner Party. And I was horrified because my daughter was 3 years old at the time, and Tamsen's daughter, Eliza Donner, was 3. And it just was too close to home. And then later in 2018, I had done a lot of research in between, and my seatmate on the way to Denver, she was going to Reno, we were going to Denver, and she asked me, what's there to do in Reno? And automatically I perked up, went, oh, Donner Memorial State Park, 36 miles away from Reno. And she's like, okay.
Wow.
And then she sent me pictures later when she went there, and I said, that's a sign, and that's when I started writing the song Searching for Paradise, which was my very first Donner Party song.
Well, the main thing we want to do is to hear all the in-depth aspects of this fascinating story through your music, which is why we're here. And so what do you have for us next?
Sure. So the next song is called See the Spring Again, which is a love story. And unfortunately, only one of the lovers makes it out alive. Jay, play me a tune about a girl who leaps to the moon, who loves a boy who dances jigs in the rain. Play one for dear friends who fly on golden wings, but who'll never see the spring. A And stars watch us without fear as our shoes disappear. Ice cracks our minds, God is snow blind. Don't fall behind, you are strong, hurry along. Jay, play me a tune about a girl who leaps to the moon, who loves a boy who dances jigs in the rain. Play one for father who flies on golden wings, but who will never see the spring again. And now we number only 7. Fetter me one from heaven. Death comes too soon. Play a sweet tune about the man on the moon. Hungry soul, lost no home, no home. Jay, play me a song about a girl who is always wrong, who loves a boy who dances jigs in the rain. Play one for me, I will always wear your ring, and I'll see the spring again. Oh, I'll see the spring again.
Alice, that was a great tune. You know, you're telling some great stories in these 2 songs we've heard so far, and real good storytellers really embrace that space between fiction and reality. And I'm just wondering, you know, how much of like these stories, like you did a lot of research, you said, and you're filling in the gaps with this, you know, with pieces of fiction. And so I'm just curious, like, how do you come up with these, you know, like dancing to jigs in the rain? That's such a great line. And so, you know, that kind of thing. Where does that come from in your songwriting?
I do the research, and then I would imagine what these characters are like, and then it hits me, and then I get an image, and I said, oh, well, Jay's like that. And we were talking earlier before the show started about my Irish dancing, and I said, well, he would be playing jigs, and he would be making everyone happy, and he would be making everyone comfortable, and that's the song I want. That he's a happy-go-lucky, really nice guy, and he was served a really terrible opportunity. He wanted to be with the love of his life, and he ended up, unfortunately, getting cannibalized. And it was not a dignified type of end to him, and that made me angry. And I said, that's not fair. Jay deserves better than that, so I want to have the song for him. Nice. That's a good way to paint that character. I like that. Thank you.
Well, Alice, as people are listening to these wonderful songs, they're going to want to know how they get a hold of them, either through streaming or this beautifully rendered CD. So is this out live for anybody in the public to get a hold of? And if so, where?
Sure. So the physical CDs, you'll have to contact me, and you can find me at aliceosborn.com. I'm also all over social media, Facebook, Instagram, all the regular suspects. But the album Skirts in the Snow, Beyond the Donner Party, goes live. It drops on Tuesday, September 13th on all the streaming platforms. Okay, so it drops. You can stream it on the 13th.
Alice Osborn, no E. She is not one of the Ozzy family.
That's right. Osborn.
.com.
And speaking of finding Alice, she is one of the least difficult singer-songwriters to find, because so not only are you a singer-songwriter, a poet, a novelist, all the things, business person, but you are also very skilled at marketing.
Thank you.
The fact that, like, I, of course, subscribe to all of your feeds and everything, your publicity is very effective. It takes place at all times during the day. We see you playing in the morning at the farmers markets. We see you playing at lunchtime when people take those lunch breaks for social media, so we know Alice Osborn is out there. And then we see you in the evenings doing your various gigs. And tell us about how you make those decisions, because a lot of singer-songwriters come in here and they're lamenting about, gosh, I want more of an audience. How do I do this? If you could sum up what you did in a few sentences, how do you market yourself effectively in a way that could convey to others?
Photos. It's about photos and images. And I've always been a person since I was a little kid to take pictures. I love taking pictures. And when Facebook was new back in '08, I took pictures, but it took a long time because that's before we had the smartphones all set up and you had to download and you had to wait. So I would do a post that was only prose and then wait for the pictures. But I would always try to put pictures and tag and use that @ symbol to tag folks and share and to put as much content as I can into the marketing. And that was the inspiration for doing one song post a day about each song. So for 12 days, I fictionalized my characters and wrote from their voice whatever song it was. So See the Spring Again, Never Take No Shortcuts. I became Virginia Reed. I became Sarah Graves. I became Mary Ann Graves. And for Eliza Donner, I used her own words from her memoir. I'd lifted from her memoir exactly.
Well,
You have to invest in hats, too. I've noticed Alice has many hats, because when you're out there in the public,
Yeah.
you don't want them to get tired of that same old hat. But, that will never happen with Alice.
well, and also I have to say I would never not know it was Alice, right? Because she's very distinctively recognizable, right? That you have a certain color palette.
Yes.
That you
my
stick with?
guitars match my dresses and
Yeah.
my hats. That's deliberate.
If you
people-
decide to, this is a trick about how to buy new guitars. If you change your dress, you've just got to go, John, get a new guitar. Every time I
Are you
change
taking
my
notes, John?
dress,
I'm taking notes.
yes. Well, we are here to enjoy as much of this wonderful music as we
Yes.
can, Alice. So what do you have for us next?
The next song is called When It Rains in the Valley, and folks from California, Northern California, know this. It's not a general knowledge, but if it rains in the Sacramento Valley, that means it's snowing like crazy in Tahoe and Truckee because of the weather patterns. The Donner Party realized this, unfortunately, so there's very, very heavy snow when it rains in Sacramento, and there was one of the worst rains in the spring of 1847. And that's what inspired this line, and the song is about William Eddy, who is the first person from the Donner Party to arrive at Johnson's ranch, which was in the valley. So he traveled 90 miles with his companions, 6 companions who survived. And unfortunately, Jay Fosdick in the last song, he had perished along the way. And his 6 companions and himself made it. It's attributed that because of when he reached California in the valley, he saved 25,000 people today because of the time that he reached. And I wanted to write this song as a tribute to effort and determination, and also loss and love. Don't cry, child. Please let me in. I'm not a fiend or a ghost, but I need bread and a bed for a while. Please don't stare. I'm not who I used to be. What I've seen I don't know, but I pray the darkness won't cover me. And we lost 8 brave souls over the inches, yards, and miles. We'll die if you don't ride tonight. There's no time to wait.
33 days ago. We carry an axe, a gun, one blanket each. I may be a father without a family. I hear the birds, forget the pain for a while. I wanted to give up, but I thought if I don't make it, nobody will. And we lost 8 brave souls over the inches, yards, and miles. More will die if you don't ride tonight. There's no time to waste. I may be too late. And when it rains in the valley, the mountains fill. Our only chance at rescue meant leaving you behind. I'm so sorry for what my dreams put you through. Oh, as soon as I can stand, I'm running back to you. 'Cause I know it rains in the valley, the mountains fill, and we lost 8 brave souls over the inches, yards, and miles. More will die if you don't ride tonight. There's no time to waste. I may be too late. When it rains in the valley, the mountains fill. When it rains in this valley, those mountains fill with snow. You must go.
Alice Osborn sharing another wonderful song from her new release, Skirts in the Snow. Alice, let's talk about this CD and the recording. And I think you mentioned you'd been at this since January or so.
That's right.
The recording process, the songs were all written by
The
them?
songs were all written by April 2021. And the last song, When It Rains in the Valley, was written in April 21.
And
So I had a whole 6 months to get them out and practice and make all little subtle changes. And I recorded the album at Bella Music Studio on Jones Street with Matt Breckbill, and I've been working with him for 6.5 years. He's my music mentor, and every Wednesday morning we meet and make some music together.
And it's you have a wonderful cast of musicians on here. How did Matt select them, or these are people you knew? Or
these are folks I met along the way, and two of them are from California.
And so it's these different tracks. How for the people who haven't been in a recording studio, how did this get pieced together? Where you went in yourself and did guitar?
I went in myself, and some of the
vocal,
recording, and some of the musicians. Most of the musicians came to the studio, and we had one musician, Alan Black, the cellist, and he drove all the way from Charlotte to record "Skirts in the Snow," which will be my next song.
So did you record all together, or each musician did their own track, listening to what had been laid down before?
Right, the second one. It was done before, and then I did the vocals later. So I already had the scratch track they listened to, and then they added their own piece, and then it was morphed back into the larger piece.
Kind of exciting when you hear these different instruments come in and things happen to your songs maybe you didn't
And piano too.
Didn't expect.
Yeah, and the piano was done all remotely. Yeah.
Nice. Well, that's one thing about digital recording. We can involve musicians and help from all around the world, which is really nice. And well, we're excited to hear this. And Alice, brought a copy. And let me just list quickly the names on here: Matt Breckbill, Steve Howe on banjo, Jerry Diamond on piano, Stephen Jackson on banjo. Is that Stephen? Yeah, who we know from the co-op.
Yeah.
Nice. And Daphna Ramil on
You
violin.
said it perfectly.
Nice. Alan Black on cello. I love a cello. Oh, I bet that sounds wonderful. And William Waltz, we know him, on guitar. So everybody, again, be looking for, when did you say, what is the word? Drops. This drops when?
It drops on
Tuesday.
Tuesday, the 13th, the day before I leave for California.
Well, we're going to talk about California in a minute, but we have time before the top of the hour to piece in one more song,
Okay.
if you'd be so kind.
Sure. This is called Skirts in the Snow. And the point of view is Eliza Donner is 16 years old, and she is conversing with a frail William Eddy who is about a day away from passing away. So this is around Christmas time, 1859.
Mother once fed me soup with this spoon. It's the only thing of hers I know. But you say that's not true. When she left us that March day, I never stopped seeing her in every stranger's face, or in the wildflowers growing, or in the full moon. You told me to speak my mother's name or she'll die all over again. But why didn't you change her mind and stop her from running through the pines? Stop her from saying goodbye. Oh, you promised to save us or die on the trail. She had to hurry back to father and couldn't. I know she couldn't fail. Mother once stitched our dresses with perfect seams. She combed our hair while sharing her dreams. But she didn't turn around once, growing smaller and smaller out of sight. We find our 3 sacks, treasures in the snow, left behind too heavy, protecting my spoon. And you sew those silk skirts into our new clothes. But why didn't you change her mind and stop her from running through the pines? Stop her from saying goodbye. Oh, you promised to save us or die on the trail. She had to hurry back to father and couldn't. I know she couldn't fail. You soup now with this spoon. It's the only thing of yours I know. But you say that's not true. Speak up when you see a wrong. Be kind when you'd rather be cross. Oh, give a hand when a stranger needs. Feed an orphan child and speak our names often so we won't die all over again.
Tamsin Donner, William Eddy.
brings us to the top of the hour. You are listening to WHUP LP Hillsboro. And once again, we've got to pay the bills. And Alice, you're dressed for the occasion. It is time for you to be a spokesmodel, while John Stevens tells us about our sponsor for this hour, which is...
Support for Pass the Hat is sweetly provided by Matthew's Chocolates at 104 North Churton Street here in lovely Hillsboro, where they are working tirelessly to provide you with all the chocolatey goodness your sweet tooth might desire.
They meet, as Bob Johnson says, all of your chocolate needs.
Yes, and then some.
Not just chocolate, there's frozen stuff and just...
And this week's bar is dark chocolate, toasted coconut, and salted caramel.
With the whoopaphone, I think my favorite part of this particular bar is the whoopaphone, which complements the Alice Osborn color palette. It's kind of a purpley mauve that goes with, her
How did
ensemble.
Matthew know that? He's a mystic.
I
Got
always
magic in
send,
it.
if I know something about the guests, like an allergy or like John and, the milk thing, so sorry. We let Matthew know about allergies, intolerances, and color schemes so that
I
he
had
can
no
know.
idea.
Yeah.
Well, that's
We're sneaky that
ingenious.
way.
Well, Matthew, as always, thank you very much.
Thank you, Matthew.
All right, Alice, that was a really interesting tune. I like how you kind of did a full circle there with her memories of her mother feeding her soup, and then she's
And that one was
feeding-
very fiction, to get
Yeah.
back to your question from before.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I really like that, the way you kind of put a bow tie on it there, where it starts with her memory of that, and then she's feeding him at the end, and kind of brings it full circle. It's nice.
So, Alice, you mentioned you're off to California,
That's right.
and might we assume it has something to do with this project?
You are correct. You are correct. So on Wednesday, I'm going to pay my respects to William Eddy and other pioneers in the Pioneer Cemetery at Oak Hill Memorial Park in South San Jose. And then I'm driving up to Petaluma and Novato and doing an open mic there at Jerry's Barbecue. The next day, I'm going to Orange Theory and spending some time at some Petaluma wineries, and then heading to east over the Emigrant Trail and perhaps stopping in Placer County if the smoke is not too bad, and landing in Sacramento, staying with my friend Daphne, who was my violin. She was an amazing she's an amazing violinist, and she's a part of a band which is called According to Bazooka, and she's amazing. I'm going to see her, and then Friday will be Truckee, California.
So hold up. I caught something in there. I'm going to go to all these places and play my gigs, and I'm going to Orange Theory. I heard you, Alice Osborn.
Yes.
Okay, are you
Because
setting
you got to
up?
stay in shape.
Okay, because there will be people who think that you might set up in front of Orange Theory and
No,
play.
I mean, I'm actually working out
Okay.
because I got to get ready for my hike on Saturday
Okay.
because I'm hiking Donner Summit.
Okay, if you're looking at the live feed, yes, Alice Osborn is in ridiculously good shape, thanks to apparently,
Orange Theory.
yeah.
I have no idea what that is, but it's a wonderful
It's a
thing.
place
cult.
that does it does like interval workouts, and it really does a good job of balancing.
You can go to Orange Theories
workouts.
anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And when I play gigs, I go to the Orange Theory the next day.
Yep.
I don't sleep in. I exercise. I stay up late, and then I go to work out early the next day.
Well,
John,
Alice,
I dig potatoes.
I chop wood. I'm usually
chop
outside.
That's my thing. That's my.
Well, and so
Jam,
you're
yeah.
taking a guitar, so you're flying out, I guess.
I'm flying out. I'm taking my smaller guitar, which came with me to California last time, and I know
And-
how the whole carry-on thing works. I'm
It
taking 4 different
goes
flights.
Overhead bin?
It goes in the overhead bin. Mhm.
Good.
Yep.
That
And
is
then I
good.
have to check the luggage, and I've already sent my CDs over to Truckee at my friends there.
Everybody, if you travel a lot with your guitar, they're making these pretty good guitars now where the neck unbolts
Yep.
and
Oh my.
folds, and
Yeah.
so it's the size of a suitcase. And apparently they've refined the technology, and those things are pretty good. So, Alice, when you start your world tour, the proceeds from the sale of the CD can buy you one of those
Exactly.
unhook things.
I need a unhook thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so Saturday is Donner Party hike weekend, and then after Donner Party, after my hike, I'm doing a presentation with my guitar, singing a lot of the songs that I'm doing here tonight. And then a couple hours later, I will be performing those same songs in a much larger arena So the first one is at Donner Summit, and then the second one is over at Donner Lake at Donner Memorial State Park, which is sponsored by the Sierra Speakers Foundation.
Well, we know if we get on your Facebook page that there are going to be likely some photos
Yep.
from
Likely.
this adventure, so we're looking forward to that.
I
Yeah.
already selected the hat and the dress.
Nice.
That comes
And
as no
they sell
surprise.
hats in California, I'll bet you.
Bet you'll get one.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, Alice, will you share more of your music with us?
Sure. All right, let's see. This is Your Own Dear Eleanor, and this song is from the point of view of Eleanor Eddy, who was the patient, long-suffering wife of William Eddy. And I imagined how it must have been like to be his wife, because he was the guy who was always on the go, very type A. And gosh, I don't know anyone like that. And I'm just imagining what life would have been like for her. And the song, she paid the ultimate sacrifice, because instead of bear meat for her and the children that was left for her at the lake, and he went off with the escape party, he finds to his great surprise and horror that she left him the bear meat instead of her keeping it. So that meant a couple of things. He would survive and she probably would not. So this is from her point of view. Dear Will, the good fight has left me inside these frozen prison walls. I'm dying among strangers while angels catch my fall. You're a man who leaps to the rescue. I'm your wife who smiles and waits. You'll keep grappling to the last breath while I wish for 12 shining gates. Did you find the meat wrapped in your pack? Don't you dare share it with your friends. Did you read the note I wrote you? Did you cry at the very end? How many lives are you gonna change? How many lives are stuck in a grave? How many lives are you gonna save? Sometimes it hurts to be brave. Oh, I promise to hold on as long as I can, but the children are growing weak. Come back to us through the past soon. Margaret won't nurse, won't sleep. You're both easy and hard to love. Keep your dreams alive, Will Eddy. I don't know who I really am, just a girl without a destiny. Did you find the meat wrapped in your pack? Don't you dare share it with your friends. Did you read the note I wrote you? Did you cry at the very end? How many lives are you gonna change? How many lives are stuck in a grave? How many lives are you gonna save? Sometimes it hurts to be brave. Dear Will, the good fight has left me inside these frozen prison walls. I'm dying among strangers while angels catch my fall. Dear Will, please accept my last trade. Do you wonder what it was all for? Oh, how the pencil shakes. Signed your own dear Eleanor.
Alice, I wanted to ask about, as someone who also writes and a lot of things based in history from time to time, you've done a lot of analysis and you've done a lot of showing us what happened and then adding fiction to bridge the gaps.
Right.
But then you're a human being and I'm sure you had thoughts about the catastrophe that was the Donner Party expedition. And as someone, Manifest Destiny was also just filled with hubris. The whole westward expansion was just, was white America saying, yeah, we got this.
Yeah, exactly.
We've no idea where we're going, but yeah, we got this. And as you read and investigated this, how were you able to keep any evaluation you had of the Donner Party in check and keep any judgments, if you had them, I don't know if you had them, from spilling over into these songs? Because, in reading a lot about the Donner Party, you'll see a lot of harsh critiques of these folks by various historians. Not enough credit given to the Native Americans who helped them, for example. The fact that they went in the first place, why did we take this shortcut? How do you check yourself as you write poetry about them?
I try to step in their shoes as much as I can, and it's fortunate that William Eddy was a friend of the Indians, and Charles Stanton was, so there were folks who were saying, please don't kill them, they're good people. Patty Reed Lewis, she married and later became Lewis. She was the young 8-year-old James Reed daughter, and she felt it was wrong for John Sutter to have slaves, the Indian slaves at Sutter's Fort. It bothered her. Mm-hmm. Some people didn't bother them at all, and that was just the way of the world. And with my novel, I am investigating slavery in California, which still did exist even in the late 1850s, which I was naive and I didn't think that happened. So I'm on a quest right now to find more research about that. But stepping into their shoes and also not trying to modernize too much, but also realizing that these men realized that the women, probably they started off with some misogyny and some ideas, but they realized how tough these women were. And they said, you got this, you can do this, you're stronger than us. And they realized that probably at the start of winter. And 5 women came with them over the escape party, which later became the Forlorn Hope. I mean, that was pretty equal opportunity to me. And a lot of the married women had some votes. So it was more equal opportunity than I thought. And California had a little more leeway for women because women could choose their men. I mean, remember, there was one woman for about 70 guys.
Alice, the book, did you intend to write a book all along, or embracing these songs and the stories that emerged in the songs was that fodder, if you will, for I think maybe I have a book here.
I think it started with Tamsen Donner, and then I wanted to go further. And your question, Kim, it bothered me that she left her 3 little girls behind so that her husband would not die alone. And then I found out later with more research that her first husband had died alone and she wasn't going to let that happen again. So that helped me. And Indians were also helping her survive. And that's why she was more stout, they called it, than the other survivors. It wasn't cannibalism. It was Indians helping her. Wow. And that was a very little known story. But these stories of the Miwoks and the Nissen Indians are coming out, and changes to the tribe names of who helped who, it's starting. So that's very, very positive. And of course, it was all the genocide of 30-some thousand Indians being killed with the gold rush. And I had more stories. I felt there were more stories to tell, and I felt I really, really wanted to tell them through Tamsen Donner and William Eddy.
So the book is a historical piece, a novel?
It's a historical novel, yeah, and I'm filling in. And so she's dead, of course, and we can only go back so far with her, with Tamsen Donner, but William Eddy's still alive. And I wanted to know, what is it like to keep going in your life after you've lost your wife and your 2 kids, and to be a success, whatever that looks like. And that fascinated me. And I said, wouldn't it be fascinating for him to find the Donner girls, because he saved the Donner girls. He lost everything but saved them. And I wanted to know that story.
Well, a fascinating project, and I'm sure your trip to California will, further inform where the book, the historical novel, goes. It's well along the way you've shared with us.
Right, and it's
but-
called The Reluctant Cannibal, which is, we don't know which one is the reluctant cannibal. Is it Georgia? Is it Tamsin? Is it Eliza? Or is it William Eddy? Who is it? Or is it all three? Or all four?
Is this book
I hope it's all of
almost finished, or
Oh, it's in the starter stages, but we have a good plot. We have a good architecture going.
good?
And it's also about lineage, and it's a very feminist theory type of book, too.
Everybody, we are here with Alice Osborn. You can learn all about Alice in a number of different ways. One, aliceosborn.com. The other out on Alice's Facebook music page. And or you can just hang around for the next 15 minutes and see what else Alice
I was
has
going
to
to say
present us.
we've got time for a few more songs.
That's right.
Okay. So this next one is called I Am the Forlorn Hope, which we've already talked was maybe not in great detail, but it was the escape party, and 15 very, very brave people left their families, their children, their moms, their dads, in order to find rescue themselves. Not wait for rescue, but get over the mountains and find rescue. And William Eddy did find that rescue, but what the heck happened along the way? And it was horrifying. And the first cannibalism happened. They lost everything. They lost their axe. And nowadays actually they just found that very axe that was lost 175 years ago, which is William Eddy's axe. Of course it was William Eddy's axe. And this story is not about William Eddy. It's about Mary Ann Graves, and she was an extremely brave woman, younger sister of Sarah, and she was close to Charles Stanton, and he was the one who originally guided the party, but unfortunately he died only 3 days after they started. In the morning I'd rather sleep than my snowshoes and mountains so steep. It's a painter's scene. The sun warms and turns bitter cold, reflects off the powdered snow, blinds Mr. Stanton, the bravest man I know. You won't push me down or steal me today. My doubts all swirl, but I fling 'em away. I carry the lost, I carry the blind, I carry the ghost. I am the forlorn hope. Packs on our weary backs, like Norwegians among the ice stacks. I come too far to return again. And hear the desperate cries of hunger from my sisters and my brothers. Mr. Stanton, he studies the moon, but you won't push me down or steal me today. My doubts all swirl, but I fling 'em away. I carry the lost, I carry the blind, I carry the ghost. Oh, I'm about as near heaven as I can get, but soon hell will want its pound of flesh. Walking somewhere in between, too far from where I used to be. I'm the last one to see our friend alive. Can't control anything except our minds. Nothing is real when everything is white. I'm so weak, but I have power, and if I survive, I'll meet my second life. The one before, it no longer matters. Well, you won't push me down or steal me today. My doubts all swirl, but I fling 'em away. I carry the lost, I carry the blind, I carry the ghost. Oh, I carry the lost, I carry the blind, I carry the ghost. I am the forlorn, the forlorn
Alice. I like that one a lot. I really like that line, "The Forlorn Hope."
Thank you.
I also, hope had to be a really hard thing to come by for this particular group of folks. And I'm looking at this beautiful booklet that comes along with your CD, and I'm reading as you're singing about Marianne Graves, who the song is about. It's just really nice to see her story right there, and then just kind of comes to life through the music. It's really, really good.
Thank you.
Yeah, and so how did you find hope in all of this, right? I mean, that's pretty wild.
These folks kept their humanity. I mean, they kept their kindness, which gives us inspiration today that even in these charged political and disease-ridden times, we can still have hope. We can still choose the right path of kindness. Don't steal. Don't cheat. Believe that you're better than that. Give a helping hand to someone that is struggling, and slow down a little bit. You don't have to rush. You can stop at that crosswalk. You can show kindness, show a smile, and change someone's outlook. Give hope to somebody. What can you do to make a difference?
That's a great message.
Give blood.
Yes,
Give blood.
Very nice.
Well, and speaking of the details, like again, Alice Osborn covers the details. She leaves no stone unturned. This book, the whole album that you've put together, I have not seen a lot of local artists who have an entire booklet with all of the lyrics and everything mentioned. And I also noticed when you do the acknowledgments, you mention the North Carolina Songwriters Co-op. You mention the people who have been instrumental to you. And those little details go a long way in building community, as you say, and showing the kindness. And also, for those of us who are linguistic learners and visual learners, you provide this whole feast for the eyes as well as for the ears.
Thank you.
So
it's
thank
really,
you for that.
really awesome for you to say that. I put a lot of time and effort, and
It's
scary because I said, this is my baby and I'm showing it to the world, and I think it's okay, but this is the first time, I don't know how it's going to be received, but I'm going to do the best darn thing I can.
Well,
I don't know.
If you're listening and if you're interested in getting this album, I would recommend that you contact Alice Osborn and get a hold of this really high quality, independently produced, beautifully produced booklet and CD, because I think you really are getting more value for your money when you do it that way.
Thank you,
We should
Kim.
give a shout out to the graphic design of this really cool book that accompanies the CD. Regina Miles, Studio RM Incorporated, Cary, North Carolina. And you two must have worked for some time on this, because it is a beautiful piece of work.
She's an amazing designer and artist, and she took my vision and ran with it. She understood. She's an independent thinker. I mean, she's awesome. Yep.
Well, Alice, we probably have time for one more song.
Yeah, I've got a
but
short one for you guys.
Doesn't need to be short.
We want you to do a long one if you can.
Whatever you want to do, we'd be glad to hear. But you don't need to rush through. If you want to spend some time giving us a summary of this experience and all these songs, or sort of a view of what happens next with you, or anything, and then lead us into this final song and bring us home. And really, really, I've enjoyed this time with you.
Thank you. I've enjoyed my time with you, too. It's been wonderful. So the next step is to go to California, learn more from people who know more than me, spend time on the ground. And when I went there last time in February, and some of those pictures are in the CD, I learned that the cabins themselves were not close together. And I learned some other stories that helped fuse my research. And it was wonderful to see the actual space and to know that, and also to acquire validation that I'm on the right track. This next song is called William Eddy, and I wrote it quite a time ago, and I had to change some of the words to reflect a little bit more accuracy, because I'm all about the accuracy as much as I can. And this song is from Georgia Donner's point of view, and she is one of the main characters in my novel, and her life and William Eddy's life intersect. And this is at the point where she meets him again, and she's 18, and he doesn't know this yet, but he has about 4 months left to live. William Eddy, do you remember me?
Georgia, into your tender care. I owe my life. William Eddy, what was your destiny? Why did you come so far, staring at indifferent stars? William Eddy, the hour of desperation. Oh, you stole, killed, left behind all you knew. Well, I was 5 when you saved my life, but you couldn't save your children. Why? Was it worth it to be so kind? Was it worth the sacrifice? Through the what ifs and the cries, my sisters and I survived. You told our mother you'd save us or die. William Eddy led us through the past. Oh, his passion, we could only go so fast. William Eddy, hour of desperation. Oh, you stole, killed, left behind all you knew. I was 5 when you saved my life, but you couldn't save your children. Why? Was it worth it to be so kind? Was it worth the sacrifice? Through the what ifs and the cries, my sisters and I survived. You told our mother you'd save us or die. Was it worth it to be so kind? Was it worth the sacrifice? Took everyone, and I was 5 when you saved my life, but you couldn't save your children. What? Was it worth it to be so kind? Was it worth the sacrifice? Through the what ifs and the cries, my sisters and I survived. You told our mother you'd save us or die. You told our mother you'd save us or die. William Eddy, do you remember? Me.
You have been listening to Alice Osborn with songs exclusively from her new CD, brand spanking new CD, dropping Tuesday, called Skirts in the Snow. Alice, thank you for coming to join us tonight.
Well, thank you, Kirk, John, and Kim. It's been a pleasure
We
speaking
wish-
with you.
yeah.
Thank you for drawing out all the meaning and getting me.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah,
This is-
absolutely.
We wish you a lot of luck and also safe travels.
Thank you.
I know it's tough these days. You're a busy mom and all of that. So good luck. We want you to wave goodbye to the live stream. We are going to end the live stream, but